ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another roleplay review. This one going over Baka's log, Baka's date at Clove Point. And judging by this gentleman, you can tell already it's not going to be a very good time. Hi guys, so yeah, we're here with another Baka log. And for those of you who may or may not have been following the story, Baka is Beretta, and Beretta had this scuffle with their classmate Kyle a couple weeks ago, where Kyle doesn't really like Baka. Then actually, their name is Beretta, but everybody calls him Baka, because, Japanese high school Baka. Anyway, Kyle and Beretta are kind of like enemies. Kyle's more like a high school bully and basically gets Beretta involved with this drug called Mind Freak, and we've been kind of following the legal process of what it's like for Beretta to be going through. He really hurt Kyle, put him in the hospital. So of course he had to be arrested, and then people started asking questions, and he was saying like, hey, it's this drug that this kid gave me. That's why I was losing my mind and going berserk. And that's kind of where this story has been going. Beretta does live in an orphanage, and that orphanage has kind of accepted that, hey, you did some time, you did some jail time, but you got off in community service, so we're going to let you stay here. Life's kind of returning back to normal after we find out that no, Kyle is not dead. He was just really hurt by Baka, and his meta-human abilities kind of coming to fruition here. And I got my notes. There they are. So, yeah, we're going to get into this log. So let me just read off the synopsis for you guys. This log is Baka's date at Clove Point. The previous log was monsters. The next log is the Battle of Clove Point, which will probably be the next review that I do. And the synopsis is there is a new antagonist that is introduced. There we go. He appears to be the head of operations of Mind Freak within Vitae City. Due to Kyle and Baka's scuffle and the discovery of Mind Freak was... Due to Kyle and Baka's scuffle and the discovery of Mind Freak was behind it, investigations are launched to dig up more information. Alas, there is little to go off of, as the Hydians have been sneakily exterminating people across the city to avoid them being potential leaks of information. The Hydian calls Kyle to a meeting, which ends poorly for Kyle. Afterwards, he meets with Beretta and the two fight. Beretta is wildly outclassed and even finds himself being thrown off a cliff to his certain, not really certain, not probably going to happen demise. Oh, sorry. There we go. So yeah, that's and that's the log, folks. Baka's very good at basically making my job easier of telling me what's going in there. But it's now my job to go into the deep meat and potatoes of it and tell you guys what I liked about it. Because, like I said, Baka has said before that they don't really need video reviews, but I like doing them, and I think that this is a log that deserves that highlight. Deserves that, some time being spent on it. I don't know why I'm wearing headphones either. There we go. So in this log, outside of what happens in the synopsis, some of the things I picked up was that Kyle actually admits to using Mind Freak on Beretta to the police. Now, maybe, I'm just not reading into that correctly, or maybe I just read it completely wrong, but I did pick up on that, and I was like, wow, if he admits that, and that changes this whole legal situation, right? Like, there's so many things here that could lead to another can of worms that have nothing to do with the fight, right? Like, I'm just reading this and be like, okay, if this were Law and Order, that would lead to that lead, which could go here. This other thing that, not just him saying that, yes, I gave this to this kid and I got him high. Not just that, but then there's the other implication that now he's gone missing and that there's all these other people missing. And, what if somebody gets on the trail of, like, later we find out that the EDF and the Imperial Army have also been using Mind Freak right now. That could be some random grunt off the street is just getting a quick high on shore leave, right? Like, that can mean the EDF, or it could have, like, much higher implications. I mean, it could be like they're just actually, like, I would love this, right? The government is getting people high. Like, they're selling Mind Freak to the EDF, but the EDF isn't using it. They're taking it to, let's just say, they're just taking it to the ghetto and moving drugs through the marginalized Saiyan neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things and different ways that this could go. But I did think that was cool. And I will say this, and I jokingly said it on DBI, but I'm actually sad to see Kyle go. Because I don't think death justifies the means. Like, he was a high school bully, sure, like that jock that was supposed to make it, and now, his dreams are dead. He'll never be the key ball champion, but you don't kill the guy. And the reason I said I'm sad to see him go is because he was actually developing into a pretty decent character. Like, yeah, he was like the Flash Thompson, right, from Spider-Man. He was the asshole that was definitely picking on Beretta. And yeah, got him high. Like they had redeeming factors because they didn't kill anybody. And even here, there was a moment in the log where they say that that he elects to show up to this meeting by himself, right? He gets this strange missive, that has this wonderful aroma to it. I love that. And he kind of knows what's up. Like, he's a high school drug dealer. He knows what's up when somebody says, "Hey, meet me here randomly." It ain't no, I don't know what the kids call it these days. It ain't no Netflix and chill invite. But he tells his friends, like, "Hey, stay back, stay behind." And he waits for the Ferris wheel all by himself. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of brave, right? Like, he actually cares for people. He's not completely evil, right? He could be redeemed. But no. Kyle doesn't make it, y'all. We lost Kyle. He doesn't make it. The bad guy in this, so I'm going to go back to the title page real quick. And the bad guy in this reminds me of Gus from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And like, he's kind of charismatic. I know that it said he's supposed to be good looking, and this does not look good right here. I understand that, but Gus is like very charismatic. He's, he dances and he woos and ahs, and there you go. And he's got so much personality to him. I keep bumping into this. And that's kind of what I feel this, we don't even know his name, which I think was a really cool idea. Leave us with a little bit of suspense and wonder. But we don't know this guy's name. We don't know who this guy that summons Kyle and effectively kills him, because basically Kyle and the whole Beretta thing is just caused too much attention to be drawn on Mind Freak and its dealings. So now people are looking for it, and the police are looking for it. So I was like, okay, yeah. And he also, being a Heidian, he casts spells, like illusion spells. I would say illusion and illusion. I feel like he has a certain allure about him because he's always spoken about as being, very attractive, very handsome. These long fingernails, and I'm assuming they're like daggers, right? Kind of like Zarbon, but they everything just feels like he's very clean and neat for being a drug dealer, but also kind of like grimy, right? Like that's what Gus was. Like Gus just had this gusto about him, and this guy he's got a lot of personality, and I really liked it. But yeah, he casts illusions with aroma. So it's kind of like genjutsu, right? The moment you smell it, you're already under it. And it was also very smart. Like he's not just pure chaos as a lot of our villains tend to be. No, he's actually very smart. So he doesn't like just start killing people, and especially the kids that are involved. He doesn't start killing them randomly because he was like, well, a couple of bodies are good, like low-life drug dealers are good, scumbags are good, but, important people can't go off just killing them. Can't go off, especially kids, because people are going to look for those, right? So my kudos to the writer. It's like you're finally starting to think like a psychopath, and your character is starting to show it. And before I get too far into this, like just overall, I have to say this is something that I've noticed. Like Baka, your general writing has leveled up, and I think I said that in the last log too. But definitely an improvement, at least from the last stuff that I remember reading 9 years ago, whatever that was. So naturally, but it's just like you're thinking in layers, right? And it's starting to show in your RP. So definitely kudos to that. What else was in here? A couple of other notes that I had about this. Was that I feel there was, though, a story moment, and it still could be, to be perfectly honest, because right now Kyle is just listed as missing. So Kyle dies in here, guys. He meets up with Hydian. Hydian snaps his neck. Basically is like, yeah, you brought too many eyes on this. Snaps his neck. But before he's killed, Kyle does kind of rat Beretta out and kind of says like, hey, the whole reason I even used this stuff was to just get back at him. It was supposed to be, he ruined my life because I can't be a keyball star. So I'm going to ruin his, yada, 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 right? And so that's how the name Beretta even gets brought up. But, yeah, Kyle doesn't make it. He dies. And it's a couple of days. I think it's maybe a week if I'm reading that. But yeah, they kind of just list him as a missing person. There's been a lot of missing persons going on, and he's just another one. And I think if it ever does come that, they find his body, or, somehow they just give up the ghost and like, yep, he's dead, Jim. I think it would be really cool to have like this big memorial for him. And when I say a big memorial, I'm not saying like a big, mural, but I just think like, a local teen is found dead. I feel like if you want to have a sense of community in the log, I think that's a pretty nifty idea of like, even Janet is sad because, death is hard, I guess, or it affects everybody differently, but it's harder as a kid to kind of deal with it, especially when it's another kid. And I just feel like, showing something of like he existed and now he's gone, maybe would even show a sign of from Beretta that we've not seen, right? Like yeah, you were a douchebag, but I didn't want you dead. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's just I think it would be a strong sense of community to make whatever space that you're trying to create feel just more alive. That's all. So yeah, without rambling too long, because this has already been a pretty long video, we get to Beretta then getting a letter Beretta meeting with the bad guy. And, it's kind of interesting that this feels so grounded, and then the fight is also very grounded. There's not like ki blast or anything like that. There's feats of superhuman strength, but I'm gonna say like it feels more Dragon Ball in a sense, because Beretta is like asking questions like, what does it mean to be strong, and is this what strength is? Kind of going back to the role plays that he has with Fusen and being taught by Fusen, right? It really gave me vibes of Gohan after the Saiyan arc, right? Because when Nappa and Vegeta first show up, like, Gohan's far too scared to actually try to fight Nappa until Piccolo dies. And so when they get to Namek, Gohan is now like initiating fights, and Baka here initiates the fight. Like, they understand that they're in a very dangerous situation, that this person has ill intent, so they initiate the combat. And unfortunately, he's outclassed, and, while he was ready to throw hands were ready to be thrown back at him. And he just didn't learn Piccolo's training of dodge. Or maybe dodge harder. But yeah, this was overall a really good log. I thought by the name of it was going to be something like campy and cute and funny, but nah, this was sad. I miss Kyle. But good job, Baka. I won't take up any more of your guys' time. Thank you for watching as always. My name is Riz, and I will see you next time.